You woke? Time to get up. Oh, there's a couple things I want to talk about, but let's talk about Nolan Wells first. This is the most important thing to talk about because there's so much going on with this particular case. In fact, I got some stuff I want to show you about this. So Nolan, everybody knows the facts in the case. Nolan Wells went to party with his friends on July 4th. 3 of his friends that they show in the picture happened to be white. He was with mostly white kids. There were other black kids on the island where he was, but he was with the white kids. So the question comes, what happened to Nolan? Because on the 5th, his parents went looking for him on the island. They couldn't find him there. And on the 6th, his body shows up outside somewhere floating outside one of the northern shore, southern shore of that island. And he was found by the Cajun Navy. So then all the questions started being asked. His friends claim that Nolan left on the 4th with was going to leave with some other friends on another boat to get back to the mainland. Then there was the fact they said he was talking to some girl, and that's why they left him there while they went back, because they were having a problem with their boat. They said that the pump wasn't working on the boat properly, and I guess they had to pump the boat. If the pump's not working, that means water's getting in the boat and they couldn't get it out or something like that. Not sure, because to me that kind of doesn't make sense that you would go and take a boat with the water filling into the boat back out into the water, into the ocean. That's a 30-minute trip back to the shore. Okay, so that's just me. I don't know that much about boats. If somebody else knows something about boats, you tell me about what was really going on, because I'm trying to figure that part out. Okay, so then we get that information. Then comes the information from a best friend who said Nolan was talking to this girl on the island, but he really didn't know the girl. And as far as he knows, Nolan was gone when the 2 boats were gone. One his friends on, and another boat was gone. Nolan was also gone. He wasn't on the island. But most people say he was on the island until about 3:30. Nobody knows what happens to him after 3:30. We get information from the parents that say 2 things. One, Nolan's phone was with the friends who said Nolan left the day that talked on ABC, said he left his phone on the boat. He happened to leave his phone on the boat because he didn't want nothing to happen to his phone, so he left it on his boat. His mother says that Nolan never goes anywhere without his phone. Another thing is his father says they went looking for his keys. They had to go over the house and ask the friends where the keys were. Nobody wanted to answer them. They were acting funny. They went back to the house. When some of his friends went over there, threatened to beat him up, next thing they know, a couple of days later, the keys show up. There's a lot of questions here, and a lot of things happen, okay? So then let's get to the police side of this. Police are like, well, we found the body. There's no evidence of foul play. We are waiting for the autopsy report. Meanwhile, no questions are being asked to anybody as far as parents are concerned. They said the only time they talked to the police was when they sent them a text. The police aren't really talking to them. The police made a statement today telling people not to rush the investigation. They're taking their time trying to get the case together. Either they're absolutely incompetent or they're not really trying to ask any questions until they get that autopsy report back, which gives people time to make up whatever story they want, right? Instead of doing what police normally do, let's go and try to find people. Let's try to get people who can talk, tell us what was going on, so on and so forth. Even the 2 best friends said the police have not come to talk to them at all about the case. But why do I not expect them to do any better than that? Let me share this. I'm going to share 2 things with you real quick. Or 3. Let me share 3. This is one case. Young man hung from a tree last year. Y'all see him right here on the screen. Hung from a tree last year on a tree last year. What to know about a hanging of 2 men in Mississippi? He was one of 2 men hung on the tree. His name is Demartriavion Trey Reed. They call him Trey. Trey Reed. He was hung from a tree near Delta State. The campus said there was no foul play. They assumed it was suicide. All this other thing. The police said no no foul play. The family is still trying to get this one investigated. I think Ben Crump's involved in that one. The other gentleman's face is not on here. I would look for it, but his face is not on here. But there was another man. He was a white man who happened to also be hung. He was homeless, and it's mysterious how he died, but they claim that was also possibly with him. Now, here's another case. Black man was found dead after he told his mother. After he told his mother he was being chased by police. Police said there's no reason to suspect foul play, even though they found his body. When they found his body, it was all chopped up into pieces. They said no reason to suspect foul play, even though his mother, called his mother and literally said he's being chased by a white man. No foul play. Oh, you don't think that was bad enough? Then comes this case. Devastated mom. Searched for sons for months before finding out he was ran over by off-duty cop and buried in an unmarked grave. Police covered that stuff up. They covered it up. So now let me explain something about this case with Nolan Wells. One of his friends' parents, is a lawyer. One of his friend's parents is a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? It's like one of his friend's parents is that lawyer. You know, I was like, why are we talking about that? What is going on here with that? Right? Right? One of his friend's parents is a lawyer. And, you know, I'm just saying, I was looking this stuff up and I was trying to find these cases because those are the biggest cases. Now, why are black people so ready to say, man, they're just not going to do right? Because we live in a world where black people have gotten such a miscarriage of justice over decades that even if this is not a matter, don't even have to be about black and white. This is a black boy in a white world. It instantly happens that way, my friends. Even if this is a case of 3 rich kids on a boat, drunk because they were talking about they were drinking after this thing, and the boy fell overboard, and nobody knows what happened because he fell overboard. They couldn't find him. They go back to wherever they were going, and they just keep it quiet. Keep it quiet. Even if it's just that, or even if it was foul play and had nothing to do with race, it had something to do with what Nolan was doing or whatever. Even if it wasn't even foul play, they didn't have nothing to do with it at all. And like I said, all the variables out there about race and all that stuff. Black people are going to see the racial issue with it regardless. Like I said, I give you 3 stories. 3 stories. People, you can't knock that down. 3 stories. In those 3 stories, the police are involved and they say there's no foul play. Nothing going on here. One of those cases, they actually committed the crime. So can we trust what's going on down there on the Mississippi coast? Everybody talking about let the investigation take its course. Let it take. That's why parents went and got Ben Crump. I don't care what you say about Crump and him being the lawyer and all that stuff. You know, he makes a lot of money off of these cases. That's what people are saying. Oh, he just makes a lot of money off of it. Maybe he does. But these parents need answers to questions they're not getting answers to, and that's why he's there. And no, you can't necessarily compare these 3 cases to everything else that happens in Mississippi, but those 3 cases happen in Mississippi. Let's just be real brutally honest here. I'm not gonna mix any other words to say nothing else. Nolan Wells' case is a case study in America what can happen to a black man in a white circle. It doesn't always happen. I am a black man who goes into white circles all the time to know that white people don't necessarily always act this way or treat you that way or different. But when you get into certain circles, you feel a certain hostility. You know what you're running into. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I want y'all to realize, that this is possible, that something could have happened to this black man because of that. This young man Young man I'm showing you on the screen right now. This young man is no longer with us. He had a promising future. Promising future. Whether he actually got to the NFL or not, he's going to get a chance to go to Division I, make a little money there, probably go on if he finishes school, get a good career, have a great life. This young man is no longer with us. This is a devastating story. Parents need answers. Everybody else wants answers. And yes, it has stirred up the black community. I wish I could tell white people how to absorb this, because I have too many white people. Why we got to make this black? Why we got to make it about black and white? Why? Because of the world we come in. And I just showed you 3 reasons why. 3 reasons why. You're still not going to understand. You're still not going to understand. I'm trying to tell you, it's that deep. As a black man who grew up in a school, let me tell you this one story. How race can be so misconstrued. I played football. Predominantly white football team. We played a black school. I heard one of my fellow teammates call the other person the N-word. I went to the coach about it. The coach told me the next day, I don't want to hear about any more players making racial comments, so on and so forth. The way they do it is they just like, we nip it in the bud. It's done. We ain't going to talk about it no more. Next year, go to a school, and I don't mind mentioning the school, it's called Jemison. I think it's in Shelby County, somewhere out there. Jemison, Alabama. They may not even be the same anymore. This is how they were then. Went to Jemison, Alabama. Somebody at that school called me the N-word. The rest of my teammates jumped on the guy. Let me explain something. How race is misconstrued. You said the N-word to another black man that was not in your friend group. I told you about that earlier. But then when somebody in your friend group is attacked, you then attack and you feel a certain way about it. But the problem was this the whole time. Regardless of whether I was the black man over there or the black man on this side. I am not one of the good ones. I am a black man. And when I see another black man get offended, I'm going to talk about it. That's how that goes. It should never be said on a football field or anywhere else about the N-word. Okay, and that's just the N-word. But when it comes to situations, circumstances where a black man could get hurt, the reasons he get hurt could be all kind of... I'm trying to find the best way to say this. That the cultural differences can make a situation more dangerous for an individual who is not a part of that particular culture for all the wrong reasons. Just because of something said, how somebody talks, just a sudden fit of anger, or a celebration that just goes wrong. So I want people to understand there's been tension between the black and white community for years because of lynchings, because of murders, because of beatings, because of slavery, because of unlawful imprisonment of black people at times. There has been a lot of pain and suffering, and it comes up every time one of these incidents happen. So you got people talking about, I heard a lady today talk about white supremacy and how there's even people talking about how this possibly was a Klan initiation thing and all that stuff. All kinds of stuff is coming up, ladies and gentlemen. And even white people are talking about this. Like, hey, I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like what I'm seeing. My thing is, why isn't the police trying to do something? What are they not? What are they supposed to do? They're supposed to do their job. It looks like they're not doing their job. That's what it looks like. And it looks like they're doing it on purpose. I don't know, is it because the mother of one of the parents is a judge or something? This is not an accusation towards those kids. This is like, we need answers. An investigation into what caused this young man to die. Not, well, it's an open shut case. He just drowned in the ocean. And these friends just happen to have his keys or his phone was in their boat. We need answers that we're not getting. Ladies and gentlemen, I've said my piece. You've heard this from a million other people, but I had to say it the way I wanted to say it. Y'all have a good day. Peace. Oh, by the way, like, share, and subscribe.
You have been listening to Thought You're Awoke No Speed Limit Podcast.